إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا ما بعد. I praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and thank Him for allowing us once again to get together with our brothers and we study together some of the affairs of our religion. This class of today and tomorrow and after tomorrow, inshallah ta'ala, is for our brothers and our family of Muslims in the ICPB, the Islamic Center of Palm Beach in Florida. They are with us on the phone, alhamdulillah. So I welcome all of them and also welcome you here at Masjid al-Tawheed and whoever is listening, alhamdulillah. We're going to read, inshallah ta'ala, from this very important book, Huddat al-Sabirin wa Dakhirat al-Shakirin, which is literally translated as the equipment of the patient and the investment of the grateful. The equipment of the patient and the investment of the grateful. But this book been out for years, translated, and has been abridged. An abridged translation of this book of Ibn al-Qayyim, Imam Ibn Qayyim Al-Jawziyyah Rahimahullah, which is in the English translation, it is known as Patience and Gratitude, the book with the blue cover. This is very important because we need these two components, patience and gratitude. We should be patient in times of tests and trials. When we are tested, when we go through difficulties, we need to have patience. And also we have to be grateful and thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the times of when things are going on the way we want, when we have what we want. Otherwise, it leads to arrogance. But before we start reading from the book, I just want to mention something in the light of what took place yesterday, in the early morning of Sunday, the 12th of June of the year 2016 in Orlando. And we mention this because, once again, whenever something happened like this and a Muslim name is involved, you find the media mentioning his name, Islam, Islamics, radicals, Islamics, Muslims, this, that. So we as Muslims, we're going to do our part to bring the truth out there, that the stand of Islam doesn't change. Doesn't matter where these acts of these horrific and heinous acts and crimes taking place in a Muslim land or elsewhere, whether they are perpetrated by Muslims or non-Muslims, Arabs or non-Arabs. And that the stance of Islam is clear. The true Islam is clear. Islam condemns all these acts of terrorism and these crimes. We know that the true and pure Islam, okay? But we have to say this because it is a lot of Muslims who don't practice Islam correctly. We want the non-Muslims themselves to know that there is what is called the true Islam, al-Islam al-Haq. But then there is a lot of Muslims who don't know their religion. And then the non-Muslims, they just look at those actions of those ignorant people or those who they deviate away from the sound understandings of the text of the Quran and the Sunnah, and they began to do a lot of actions, evil actions, horrific actions, and from killings and beheadings and kidnappings and blowing up buildings and places, and it's enough if the name of a Muslim is behind that. Then the people who don't know, they think that all Muslims are involved in this, and this is what Islam is all about, and that's what Islam teaches these people, which is not the case. We know that the true and pure Islam, which was taught and practiced by our Messenger Muhammad ﷺ and his companions, is free from these heinous acts of terror. And this true and pure Islam is the same that we must strive to learn and adhere to. We take it from its authentic sources, the book of Allah, the Quran, and the teachings of the noble Prophet, whom Allah sent as a mercy to all mankind, with the sound understanding of the companions of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So we should take this religion from its proper sources, as we mentioned, and we must beware of those evil and corrupt individuals who are motivated by their own deviant and political agendas. Those who call to falsehood and false ideologies according to their own desires. And of course they do that in the name of Islam, in the name of jihad. We can see that there are different types of individuals who perpetrate these acts of violence and terrorism, falsely claiming that they are in the way of Islam, in the name of Islam. Some of them, and Allah knows best, but from what we hear, this may be the case of the most recent attack in Orlando, in Florida. Some of these perpetrators are not religious individuals. They're not. They're not. On the contrary, usually they are quite ignorant of the religion. They may have also, some of them, besides their ignorance of the religion, they may have a history of violence and instability, mental instability. They are troubled people looking for justification to carry out their vicious deeds. So crazy people, they do crazy things, as we know. Another type of individuals that also they may be involved in these acts, and we wish to give a special reminder to those of us around the youth, whether you are a parent, an aunt or an uncle, a neighbor, or even a friend, a teacher, an imam of a mosque, is the Muslim youth who is not brought up knowing the true teachings of Islam. Their parents, they don't teach them what Islam is, the true Islam. They may become disturbed and saddened at what they see and hear going on in the world today from oppression and wars. But they don't have the knowledge how to deal with these matters. And it is from this ignorance and lack of understanding of the religion of Islam which can lead some, especially from the youth, to feel lost in this world. They do not know their Creator. So how can they understand the purpose of their creation? And it is in this condition in which some of our youth are at risk of falling prey to those false and evil callers who wish to carry out their corruption, their heinous crimes, telling these youth that they can make a difference and that these acts are in the name of Islam. And of course, as we know, they use their propaganda, the internet, the social media. And truly, none are safe from this except those who know what Islam is. So please, now is the time. All parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, teachers, mentors, neighbors, and friends, bring your sons, daughters, nieces, nephews, friends, and relatives to the masjid. And when we say the masjid, we intend the masjid of Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, who are upon the true Islam, not just any Muslim, any masjid. There is a lot of mosques that do not teach the proper Islam. So we would like for you to bring your sons and daughters, nieces, nephews, friends, and relatives to the masjid. Bring them so that they can learn what Islam is before someone else teach them what Islam isn't. They will teach them that which is not Islam in the name of Islam. All these crimes and acts of terror and in the name of Islam. And they accept it because they don't have nothing else to refer to and say, no, it's not like that. When somebody sends them a text, or when they find themselves around certain people, or they're reading in a link on the internet, or kill somebody, kill this kuffar, because look what they do in Afghanistan, look what they do in Iraq, look. Then the person who has knowledge, he was like, no, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. We don't just go ahead and randomly kill people for no reason. No, we're Muslims. We follow the deen of Islam, the call to peace. Muslims have a rights over us. Non-Muslims have a rights over us. Dhulm, oppression, is forbidden in our religion. Yes. But those who don't know, they become an easy target. So if even you as a parent, grandparents, as uncles and aunts and the like, if you just bring them, meaning this youth, to a few of our youth classes, this will open up a door for them. Perhaps they can learn enough in just a few hours to help them recognize falsehood if it should come to them under the guise of Islam. These evil organizations are all over the internet, trying to lure our children, our youth. So parents and caretakers should beware. These people have windows into your living rooms and even in your bedrooms. Anywhere there is a computer or anywhere there is even a phone under your roof. They have access, these people, to the internet. The Khawarij and their ideology, the ISIS and ISIL, the Qayyim, the Nusra, the Shabab in Somalia, and the Boko Haram in Nigeria, and all of those who are affiliated with them, the Ikhwan al-Muslimun, the Muslim Brotherhood, and all of those wicked, the Rafida, and all of them, they have access to the internet. They are active in the internet using the social media. So we want to be vigilant and be careful, teaching our children and our youth what Islam is, and that things are not taken up to emotions. We live by principles, by guidelines. So therefore, be mindful of what your children are doing online. Check in with them and talk with them. Don't make the same mistakes as some parents who thought their children were fine or just average teens. And they just have fun on the internet. And then they receive that call saying that their beloved young boy or girl is behind one of these heinous acts, or that youth has disappeared and now turned up in Turkey or Syria or the like or that. It's important for us as a grown-up, as parents, grandparents, as a community to step up to the plate, as they say, and teach our youth, especially teach them the magnitude of these matters. They should be careful. Don't take anything that came to them from the internet. And we should advise them to be aware of these criminals and these deviant groups like the Khawarij, especially the Khawarij and the Qaeda and the ISIS and the ISIL, as I mentioned, and the Shabab and Boko Haram, and to be aware of the evil ideology of Al-Ikhwan Al-Muslimun, the Muslim Brotherhood, and the like. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us all from these crimes and from their evil and from their plots. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala defeat their plots. Ameen. After this being said, now inshallah ta'ala we go ahead and try to begin reading from this book. Just going to read the English translation inshallah ta'ala. Before reading, the translator, Jazakallah khair, has mentioned a beautiful introduction. He says, and this actually was translated a while ago, like in, when is this? Hold on. It's like in 95 or something like that, 97. And we can add to that when they mention something about the means and the outlets. You can add to that many things that we know in this time, the Twitter and all of that. Yeah, we live in an era of overwhelming Western influence, where two major ideas are upheld and promoted. One of these is the expectation of instant gratification, whereby few people are prepared to wait. Whereby few people are prepared to wait or work hard or suffer temporary hardship to get results. People see a world of wealth and power depicted on TV and in the movies, and we can see now on the internet, on YouTube, on many outlets of the internet, and they want it now. They just wanted that life. Immediate satisfaction is expected in this world. So how much harder must it be for such people to think in terms of preparing themselves for the hereafter? The other major idea promoted by Western influences, by these social medias now and all of that, is the cult of the Superman. Here too, the TV and movies and the media outlets and the social media and the like must take much of the blame for filling people's minds with the notion that the stronger and wealthier you are, the freer you are to do what you like, regardless of the consequences. The idea of the survival of the fittest is used to justify destroying the weak in their quest for independence and superiority. The godless are turning this world into a living hell where competition and conflict prevail. Crime is on the increase, as religion and morality are no longer deterrent forces. And a sense of fear and insecurity is spreading in its wake. Mental illness and psychological disorders are a further symptom of the malaise caused by negative Western influences on the Muslims and in the Muslim communities and societies and countries. The Islamic way is sharp contrast to the current trends of the West. Our Creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, knows best the makeup of the human psyche, and the guidance of the Quran and Sunnah is in perfect harmony with the human nature. Not for nothing is Islam known as Din al-Fitra, meaning the life transaction of the natural state of man. Muslim scholars and scientists developed an extensive and deep knowledge of human behavior and psychology, which was firmly rooted in the guidance of the Quran and the Sunnah. Centuries ago, scholars developed Islamic concepts by which any person who is seeking strength of willpower and perfection may be guided. Instead of struggling alone for no other reason than self-gratification, Islam channels and directs us into seeking perfection for the sake of Allah. That's what we do. You're going to be better. Whatever you do, try to be better at it. But for the sake of Allah, to get the reward first from Allah, that's what counts. Naam, you will benefit in this life. Islam directs us into seeking perfection for the sake of Allah and reaches us to seek His help in doing so. Thus, we have important Islamic principles and values such as ubudiyyah, being a true slave of Allah. And that's the purpose behind our creation, by the way. We're not created here to compete with one another who's going to be richer than other. We compete, and we're here for this purpose, so we can be a true servants and slaves of Allah, the Creator, because we shall return to Him, and we stand for accounting. So we have such this ubudiyyah, being a true slave of Allah, which puts a person in touch with the highest power in this universe, the power of Allah. Likewise, tawakkul, we have tawakkul, these great principles and values and ideals of Islam, such as tawakkul, putting one's trust in Allah, concerning which the Prophet ﷺ advised, whoever wishes to be the strongest among men, let him put his complete trust in Allah. We have also from these principles and values that we should know and learn about and adorn ourselves with and act upon, put it into our daily lives and our actions and transactions. We have sabr, patience, forbearance, fortitude, which enables a man to face hardship with dignity and to accept times of ease without becoming arrogant. These are the means that enables a man to face hardship with dignity and to accept times of ease without becoming arrogant. Ibn al-Qayyim, you can say Ibn al-Qayyim. If you say Ibn al-Qayyim, don't say Al-Jawziyyah. But if you want to say all of it, then al-Qayyim should be without alif al-lam. You should say Ibn Qayyim Al-Jawziyyah or Ibn Al-Qayyim. Ibn Qayyim Al-Jawziyyah, one of the great scholars, he was born in the year 1292 CE, the Christian era, and he died in the year 1350, was one of these scholars. Was one of these great scholars. His full name was Muhammad ibn Abi Bakr ibn Ayyub ibn Sa'd al-Zur'i, and his kunya was Abdullah, Abu Abdullah Shamsuddin. But he is better known as Ibn al-Qayyim or Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyyah. He was born in Damascus in Syria, Dimashq. He was the son of the attendant. That's why I call Qayyim. Qayyim is the attendant of the school Al-Jawziyyah. So the school was named, the name of the school is Al-Jawziyyah. His father was the attendant of that school. And in Arabic is called Qayyim. That's why Qayyim Al-Jawziyyah, they say the son of Qayyim Al-Jawziyyah, the son of the attendant of the school that is, its name is Al-Jawziyyah. So you know where this name comes from, Ibn Qayyim Al-Jawziyyah. So Qayyim is the attendant. Al-Jawziyyah is the name of the school. And Ibn, the son of. Okay. He lived during a period of great turmoil in the Muslim world. You think these ulama, they lived a large life, and no, they lived in a turmoil too, and fitan and trials and tribulations. He himself, Rahimahullah, he lived during a period of a great turmoil in the Muslim world, which was still reeling from the Mongol onslaughts. At the same time, his was an era, same way. He was an era of turmoil, but it was an era as well of remarkable scholarship. He studied under the great scholar, Shaykh al-Islam, Ibn Taymiyyah, Rahimahullah, and was also a contemporary of Ibn Kathir and others. The present text is an abridged translation of Ibn al-Qayyim's famous work, Uddatu Sabirin wa Dhakhiratu Shakirin, which is literally translated as the equipment of the patient and the investment of the grateful. The equipment of the patient, what the patient is equipped with, and the investment of the grateful. This work here, this book of Ibn al-Qayyim, Rahimahullah, deals with the closely related topics of patience and gratitude. As-sabr wa shukr. This work deals with the closely related topics of patience and gratitude. Although often translated as patience, the Arabic word sabr has a broader and deeper meaning than the English. Depending on the context, it may mean fortitude, patience, equanimity, which is composure, calmness, having an even temper, especially in difficult times, in difficult situations. Forbearance, patience, endurance, etc. Different meanings. One word in Arabic, based on their context and how it is used, it could mean different things in English. Likewise, shukr may be translated as gratitude or thankfulness. As is shown in the book, patience and gratitude are two sides of the same coin. They are two sides of the same coin, closely related attitudes which the Muslim should seek to foster in every aspect of his or her life. We need these two, patience and gratitude. Gotta be patient in times of trials and tribulation, and when you experience decrease in wealth, in health, in lives, and the like, what are you going to do? Patience brings the results, the fruits. Likewise, especially we live in, this is dunya, this is not paradise. There's a lot of tests and trials and tribulations. Likewise, gratitude teaches a person to be grateful and thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not to grow arrogant. This kind of practical spiritual advice is something that today's Muslims so desperately need. Far from being a set of empty rituals and nitpicking legal technicalities, or a set of words to be mindlessly repeated Islam is a holistic way of life. If it is meaning here that we don't just hear these words and sabr, mashallah, iman, ubudiyya, this, tawheed, Islam for instance, but we need to know what they mean and try to apply those meanings in our lives. These are those of us who is going to see a better change in their lives. Islam is the holistic way of life. If it is applied only partially, imbalance will result. Imbalance will result and take place. A most important aspect of Islam, which must always accompany the formal rituals and the recitation of dua and dhikr, is constant remembrance of Allah. No. Constant remembrance of Allah and constant contact with the divine. Developing a truly Islamic attitude of patience will enable us to achieve these things. Although this works, meaning this book here, this great work of this great Shaykh and Alim and Shaykh al-Islam ibn al-Qayyim Rahimahullah, although his works were written over 6 centuries ago, almost 7 centuries, Ibn al-Qayyim Rahimahullah has much to offer the modern reader. Caught as we are between the tempting influences of the West and the hidebound superstitions of some of our own Muslim communities, Ibn al-Qayyim's level-headed and above all practical advice will point us back towards a purer Islamic way, inshallah. It is clearly that Islam, with no doubt, ya ikhwan, we all believe this. This is from our aqeedah, from our belief, that Islam has the answer to many of the psychological problems that trouble mankind today. The solution is in Islam, in learning it and understanding it correctly and being devoted, a true faithful servant of Allah, which bring tranquility to the heart and peace to the mind, and a person will live a rich life even though they broke financially. It is not the money that makes a person happy. Happiness cannot be bought through money or jewelry or gold or property or possessions. You may buy the most expensive mattress in the world, but it's not guaranteed that it will come with one good night of sleep. Ala bi dhikrillahi tatma'innul qulub. Verily, through the remembrance of Allah, remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in all times, whenever we are, that's what brings tranquility and peace and rest and ease. Now, so that's true. Islam is the solution. We believe in this with no doubt, alhamdulillah, with certainty. Islam has the answer to many of the psychological problems that trouble mankind today, such as anxiety, depression, lack of confidence, addictions, etc. In direct contrast to the Western focus on the self, Islam tells us to look beyond ourselves and focus on Allah, the Creator, subhanahu wa ta'ala. By doing so, we will move towards fulfilling the purpose for which we were created, and thus attain peace with our Creator and within ourselves. As for the prologue of Ibn al-Qayyim Rahimahullah, he mentioned the introduction of Ibn al-Qayyim was translated as well. He says, praise be to Allah, the patient, the thankful, Ash-Shakur, the Most High, Al-Ali, the greatest, Al-Kabir, the all-hearing, As-Sami', the all-seeing, Al-Basir, the all-knowing, Al-Alim, the all-powerful, al-qaeda, whose power controls every single creature and whose will dominates every single event. His call to people, meaning the call of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, His call to people to prepare for the hereafter has been made so strongly that even the dead could hear it. Then he says, Ibn Qayyim says, I bear witness that there is no true God worthy of worship except Allah, and I bear witness that Muhammad is his slave and messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the best of his creation, who did not spare any effort to advise his ummah, this ummah, the most patient in accepting the decree of Allah and the most grateful for his blessings. Truly he, meaning the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he conveyed the message of Allah and proclaimed the truth and endured in the way of Allah that which no human being had ever endured. He followed Allah's commands patiently and gratefully until he gained the pleasure of Allah and attained the highest degree of patience, such as had never before been reached. Patience or patient perseverance is obligatory according to the consensus of the scholars, and it is half of faith, Iman, the other half of which is gratitude, Ash-Shukr. Ibn Qayyim Rahimahullah still mentioning, patience is mentioned in the Quran around 90 times. Patience is mentioned in the Quran around 90 times. The relation of patience to Iman is like the relation of the head to the body. Ibn al-Qayyim Rahimahullah said, the relation of patience to faith, to Iman, is like the relation of the head to the body. And the one who has no patience has no Iman. Allah has commanded patience for the believers in the following ayah 153 in Surah Al-Baqarah. Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu ista'inu bis-sabri was-salah. O you who believe, seek help with patient perseverance, sabr, and prayer. Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala continues saying, patience has also been made a condition for a person's entering paradise and being saved from hellfire. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says on the Day of Judgment, as we have this in this ayat 111 in Surah Al-Mu'minun. إني جزيتهم اليوم بما صبروا. شوف this word صبر. إني جزيتهم اليوم بما صبروا أنهم هم الفائزون. I have rewarded them this day for their patience and constancy. Patience. They are indeed the ones that have achieved the bliss, and they are those who are al-faizun, those who are successful and the winners. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded the patient, meaning those who have patience, when He said, it is righteousness. Na'am. In Surah Al-Baqarah, in the ayah 117, or actually 177 of Surah Al-Baqarah, ليس البر أن تولوا وجوهكم قبل المشرق والمغرب ولكن البر من آمن بالله واليوم الآخر والملائكة والكتاب والنبيين وآتى المال على حبه ذوي القربى واليتامى والمساكين وابن السبيل والسائلين وفي الرقاب وأقام الصلاة وآتى الزكاة والموفون بعهدهم إذا عاهدوا قال تعالى والصابرين في البأساء والضراء وحين البأس أولئك الذين صدقوا وأولئك هم المتقون. When Allah talks about the birr, and He mentioned those who are patient, that is, righteousness is to be firm and patient in pain or suffering and adversity, and throughout all periods of panic. Such are the people of truth, the God-fearing, al-muttaqun. Also in Surah Al-Imran, verse 146, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Allah loves those who are firm and steadfast. Allah loves those who are firm and steadfast. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us that He is with those who have patience. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran that He is His help and His aid, not physically, because Allah cannot be with His creatures on earth. But when you know the ma'iyya, meaning through His knowledge, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows their conditions and He assists them, protect them. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us that He is with those who have patience. This is a special companionship, the ma'iyya, which means that He is protecting and supporting them, which is over and above the ordinary companionship which applies to believers and disbelievers alike, whereby Allah has knowledge of them and is watching over them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us, and be patient and persevering, for Allah is with those who patiently persevere. Surah Al-Anfal, verse 47. Also the Prophet ﷺ told us that patience is all good and full of goodness, and said that there is no gift better than patience. This is a part actually of a hadith that is in Sahih al-Bukhari. We'll read to you the full hadith, inshallah ta'ala. Narrated by Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, radiallahu anhu, some from the Ansar people asked for something from the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They come and asked, and he gave them. They again asked him for something, and he sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave them again. And then they asked, and he sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave them, till all that was with him finished. Keep on giving them whenever they ask until all that which with him was finished. And then he sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if I had anything, I would not keep it away from you. And then he says, remember, whoever abstains from asking others, Allah will make him contented. And whoever tries to make himself self-sufficient, Allah will make him self-sufficient. And whoever remains patient, Allah will make him patient. Nobody can be given a blessing better and greater than patience. And this is the end of the hadith, number 548 of in Sahih Al-Bukhari from book 24. So this book has been written to highlight the urgent need for patience and to explain that our happiness in this life and our salvation in the hereafter depend on patience. Have to have patience. Now you can have Tawheed, the Sunnah, but you got to do it. How you're going to learn and benefit from that is through patience. This book is filled with benefits, and readers will benefit from its advice and teachings. Rahimahullah, meaning the advice and the teachings of this great Imam, Shaykh al-Islam, Ibn Qayyim, Al-Jawziyyah, Rahimahullah, or Ibn Al-Qayyim. We're going to stop here, inshallah ta'ala. Tomorrow we'll start reading the first chapter, as Ibn Al-Qayyim brings the definition of patience and the statements of the ulama as related to that. and then different types of patience in the chapter, inshallah ta'ala. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us from those who are patient and those who are grateful. اللهم اجعلنا من الصابرين ومن الشاكرين. We ask Him subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us beneficial knowledge that is coupled with righteous actions. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep us firm upon His path, the Sirat al-Mustaqim. وصلى الله وسلم على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. نعم.